Buenos días, estudiantes. Hoy voy a hablar de algunos verbos que cambian de raíz. We're going to talk about some stem changing verbs. We have a few within our new module, within our new vocab that I want to go over with you. The stem changing verbs that we're going to focus on today, and make sure that you have your notes with you so you can follow along and copy these down, are going to be my O to UE stem changing verbs. Anytime I have an O in the stem, I'm going to change it to UE in all forms except for nosotros and vosotros. When I do this and I outline the stem changing verbs, I will have a shoe or a boot. So looking at one of the verbs that you're probably used to seeing or hearing is the verb poder. Poder means to be able to or can do something. And the one that we use all the time if you need to use the restroom is puedo ir al baño. For this one, when I get to my O, I'm going to stem change that to a UE. I'm then going to finish my stem. And then I need to decide, is that an AR verb, ER verb, or IR verb? Once I realize what that one is, I'm then going to go ahead and give my O ending for the yo form. And yo puedo ir al baño. If I would respond to you, sí, tú puedes ir al baño. You can go to the restroom. This is an ER verb. My to ending for ER is an ES. After you go to the bathroom, I can say, oh, Sophia can go to the bathroom. Sofía puede ir al baño. Stem change the O to UE, and then my ending for usted el ella for an ER verb is simply puede. Still working within the boot. If you all can go to the bathroom or you're able to go to the bathroom, I start with my stem, change my O to UE, finish my stem, and then this is in ustedes, ellos, ellas form. So my ending for an ER verb will be ellos pueden ir al baño. Now, outside of the shoe, we do not have to go through and stem change my O to UE, and it will just be a normal conjugation. I'll start with my stem to say that we can. I'm going to go with the ending for an ER verb in the nosotros form, and that will be nosotros podemos. For vosotros, I'm going to start with my stem. Again, since it's outside of the boot, I don't have to change my O to UE. And then my vosotros ending for an ER verb will be vosotros podéis. Since it's an ER verb, my accent goes over the E. And that's going to be the conjugations for poder. Hopefully this is just a review for you. And now we're going to move on to some new verbs that we have in this unit and practice conjugating those. All right, so we're going to look first of all at the verb resolver. You remember that from the last section, to solve problems, resolver los problemas. And again, this is going to be an O to UE stem changing verb. When I get ready to conjugate this, I also have to realize that it is an ER verb as well. And anything within the boot will be stem changed O to UE. So for the yo form, I start off with my stem, but oops, I got to that O, so I'm going to have to change that to a UE. I'm going to have to finish my stem. Now here's the part that some people forget. After the stem changer, but before the ending, Sometimes we forget that we still have a few letters in there from the stem that we have to include before we get to the ending. So yo resuelvo los problemas. For the to form, same thing. I'll start with my stem, but oops, there's that O. So I'm going to change that to a UE. Don't forget that I still have a few letters in that stem that I have to deal with. And now I can include my to ending for an ER verb, which is an ES, tú resuelves. For the vos, usted, el, ella form, same thing. When I get to the O, I'm going to change it to a UE. Don't forget that I still have a few more letters left in the stem. And then I'm going to finish with the usted, el, ella ending, el resuelve. Dealing with the right-hand side, still inside the boot. I'm going to start with my stem. There's that O, so I'm going to change it to a UE. Don't forget I still have some remaining letters in the stem that I need to deal with. And now I can add my ending. Ellos resuelven. Now working outside the boot, I'm going to start with my stem. And there's that O, but remember in nosotros and vosotros, the reason it's outside of the boot is because I don't have to change that to a UE. And I'll continue on with the rest of my stem before I add the nosotros ending for an ER verb. So nosotros resolvemos. There we go. For the vosotros, it's outside of the verb. So once I get to that O, I'm going to keep the O, continue with the rest of the stem, and my vosotros ending again for an ER verb is es. So vosotros resolvéis. Now you're going to practice on your own. One of our new verbs is the verb aprobar. If you've watched the vocabulary introduction, you'll know that aprobar means to pass, such as if you pass a test or if you pass a class. And remember that aprobar is also an O to UE stem changer. Right now, I'd like for you to pause the video and practice conjugating this verb on your own in the 6 forms. After you've completed the conjugations, then press play to see how you did. Pause the video now. All right, so looking now at the verb that you've conjugated, did you remember to change the O to UE in any form that fits within the boot, or all forms except for nosotros and vosotros? Did you remember that aprobar is actually an AR verb? So we're using our AR endings for these. Sorry about that. So we should have apruebo, apruebas, aprueba, aprobamos, aprobáis, and aprueban. Check yourself, make corrections. If you do make a correction, I would also suggest that you circle that just to know that, hey, I forgot to do this and I'm not going to forget to do that again. Now we're going to go with another verb to practice as well. Okay, so now we're going to practice the verb reprobar. I want you to think about that, everything that we've been through in the last couple of practices. And now we're going to pause the video as you go through and work through everything that you remembered that we've been talking about. Once you have reprobar conjugated in 6 forms and you've told me what it means, press play on your video. Pause the video now. All right, let's see how we did. Reprobar is the verb to fail. It is an O to UE stem changer. It is also an AR verb. To conjugate it correctly, did you remember to put your UE stem changes within the boot. Nosotros and vosotros do not stem change, and it's an AR verb. So we should have repruebo, repruebas, reprueba, reprobamos, reprobáis, and reprueban. Hopefully this was an easy lesson for you. We're going to go ahead and continue practicing in just a moment.